All right, Tristan, first up on the docket is none other than George Pickens and the Cowboys. They have made a trade. They have acquired George Pickens. They sent a 2026 third-round pick and a 2027 fifth-round pick in exchange for George Pickens and a 2027 sixth-round pick from the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, there was a lot of talk about, obviously, this was a huge need for Dallas, a number 2 receiver, right? They had CeeDee Lamb, but they really didn't have anybody else that could really step up into that number 2 slot. They had a lot of, in my opinion, number 3, number 4 guys, but never that star wide receiver number 2, which you see in teams like Tampa Bay, where you have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. You almost have to have that if you are a pass-heavy type of offense, which, honestly, that's kind of what Dallas has turned into now. Because
especially when you look at the running back room.
Exactly.
Who's there?
Exactly. And so there were talks that they were going to try to get McMillan out of Arizona in the draft at pick number 12, but he obviously got drafted 8th to Carolina a couple weeks back. So, Jerry Jones had rumored a couple of trades in the talks and in the works that would be dropping, and this is one of them. And I have to say, I personally don't hate it at all. You do have a better shot at winning games with better players on the field, whoever is your coach. And this guy, in my opinion, is a very consistent wide receiver. Never, to me, has been a wide receiver 1, but has been a really solid wide receiver 2 for most of his career. Tristan, what say you?
When you look at it from the Dallas perspective, kind of like you did, I get what you're saying, and I understand Dallas feeling the need to make a move like this. They definitely wanted to get CeeDee Lamb some help because it was just him, right? There's no one out there that he can really hope to take the coverage away, hope to help him, and, get some looks. Now, we know CeeDee Lamb likes a lot of targets, so we'll see how that goes. I don't like this from the Cowboys' perspective. I like it from the Steelers' perspective. I think they did a good thing. I just think this is a mistake by the Cowboys because I don't see it working out, mainly for a couple of reasons.
Really?
Well, yeah. One, they traded a third-round pick. A third-round pick can get you like a solid starter. Especially if you draft as well as Dallas does, you can get a legit contributor in the draft in the third round, whether that's at receiver, another position. Obviously, that varies draft to draft. But more so than even that, the Steelers have a history of trading wide receivers that have become a problem, and they never work out. We saw it with Antonio Brown, Deontay Johnson.
You're a little bit different than me on this take, huh? So you don't like it.
George Pickens is talented, but he has proven to be a big problem, a diva, a prima donna. And this goes back even to his time at Georgia. This was an issue coming out of the draft for him. And he is talented, and we'll get into that. But the Steelers, I think if they're at the point where they want to trade you, that says something, because Mike Tomlin can make it work. Look how long he made it work with Antonio Brown, and a lot of people didn't even know that was going on there. This is kind of a thing. Pickens shows up late to meetings. He doesn't respect the coach at times. He doesn't do what's required on the field. He is a issue in the locker room. And I feel like his talent has been overhyped a lot in the media. He is good, but I kind of think he's overrated, and I've got some numbers to back it up. Right here, Ryan, this is George Pickens' NFL ranks the past 3 years. Obviously, I understand quarterback situation has been up and down, but still, if you're that kind of receiver, you got to deliver. Reception yards each year, 32nd in the league last year, 16th, 38th. Touchdowns, tied for 81st last year, then 35th, 46th. Targets, 35th, 33rd, 61st. And total receptions, tied for 54th last year, 50th the year before, 72nd in his rookie season. So you look at those numbers, I know that devil's advocate is, well, who's he had throwing him the ball? And that's fair, I understand that. But a lot of receivers are in precarious QB situations and put up better numbers. I understand he has talent and the athletic ability. We want him, and the media in general wants him to be a better player than he is on the field. He is a good player. I kind of agree with your assessment. At best, I think he's a really good 2. I just don't ever think he has what it takes between the ears to be a solid number 1.
Quick timeout, guys. Want to make sure that you're subscribed to our videos, our channel. Click that link down below. Hit the bell. Do whatever it takes to make our dreams come true. It's free. Doesn't cost a dime. Make sure you hit that button down below. We don't mind begging here.
And the last part, Ryan, he's on the last year of his contract. So it's basically a 1-year rental, and you gave up a third-round pick. Unless the Cowboys are planning to extend him, and that opens up a whole nother can of worms because they haven't even signed Micah Parsons yet. I don't know. Problematic player, first-time head coach. I don't like it at all. I'm glad it's great for Pittsburgh to get a third for him and go ahead and cut ties, but I just don't see it working out for Dallas. I really don't.
I mean, I don't hate your take there. I see all those concerns, and you're definitely cautioned to this trade, and maybe the Steelers, kind of offloaded him at the perfect time. I mean, they did. They really never had a plan to extend George Pickens.
Definitely not. That's why they offload him here for sure. Good point.
Correct. And Dallas was willing to pick him up. And I know he's got issues off the field and, well, partially on the field. But, I think that's the thing with a young talent that is, thinks he can play the best football and the best at his position than anybody else in the league. And so maybe this is good for him. What I think, though, is that Dallas was willing to take that risk on him. I don't think they would have made this trade on that 1-year rental if they didn't have future plans to extend him. Now, I say that, and then you look at the Micah Parsons situation, but then you just always go back to Jerry Jones, and you realize that, okay, well, there's the brokenness of Dallas is right there. Whether or not this trade is good for them in the office, me specifically, I'm talking about on the field, I don't see this going sideways for them as long as he's able to play and play healthy, and Dak Prescott's able to throw the ball somewhat good. I think this is going to be a step up. I mean, just logically speaking and statistically speaking, it is a step up at that position for wide receiver 2. I mean, I saw several articles before the show that, people were saying that he could be a wide receiver 1B. Now,
right.
I'm with you on the side of caution saying, I don't think he's that good. I think he is a little overrated in that perspective, but I do think that he steps up to this wide receiver 2 position. He plays it well, and he does a good job for Dallas. And if you got somebody who's like CeeDee Lamb on your left side or your right side, you got somebody there with extreme talent, like the highest talent of pretty much any wide receiver in the league.
Yes. And
you're working beside him and you realize, oh, okay, I'm not the best. This guy's way better than me.
Right. That's how I could see it working out, because the way I could see it succeeding is because of Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, and because Dak is that veteran, he's got that leadership role in the team, and he's respected, and everyone trusts him. That's where maybe it could work out. My counter to that is just the fact that Mike Tomlin is that guy too. Mike Tomlin is one of the most well-respected coaches in the league, and I think if he couldn't get it out of him, I don't know if anyone else. And it also, to me, feels like he's kind of Jerry Jones. I understand it, but it feels like you're putting your first-time head coach in a really tough situation. Schottenheimer's never been a head coach, and he's going to have to deal with this. It could get messy really quickly. And I just don't. I think at this point, Pickens is who he is. I know Dallas is basically trading, hoping they can get him to change and get him to commit more and work more. I don't think that's going to happen. I think, and we've seen that a lot. We've seen it like Kadarius Toney. There are players like that they just don't want to put in the work. They don't want to do it. They want to show up, catch balls, and go home, and they think that they're going to be the best doing that. And I worry this could create more friction with Dallas. I do think it might even with my take, it might look good for 6 or 7 weeks, but eventually, it's going to break even.
You may be right. A lot of times you're right about these kind of off-the-wall topics like this. You have a way of kind of seeing through things. I don't fully commit to that sentiment. I don't think that that's true. I think that this will work out. And your whole talk about the whole Mike Tomlin situation, we see a lot of times when you have that veteran presence behind center, they're actually able to influence the player more than even the head coach at times. And so I think that if Dak can use that in his favor and CeeDee Lamb can come alongside him and say, hey, you got to show up to practice. Like, we don't actually need you.
Right.
It would be nice to have you, but at the Steelers, they needed you. You were the guy.
Yeah, and maybe that is where it could work out, because Dallas and or Dak and CeeDee Lamb could be like, hey, if you don't want to act right, that's fine. We just won't throw you the ball, and then you won't get extended, and you're not going to get a good contract in free agency next year. It's like, or because we got CeeDee Lamb, like you said, we don't need you. We want you. We want you to benefit the team, but you need us way more than we need you, and that's what you have to hope for. Because as me and you talk about, we want these players to succeed. You have to hope this is a wake-up call for George Pickens, and he says, hey, I really need to get my stuff together. But he made an Instagram post the other day saying that the Steelers are a cheap organization, don't want to pay nobody, and they're worthless. So, it's not looking off to a great start.